In the past, General Motors spent a lot of time litigating against those sorts of things and lawyering, and rather than getting the engineers out there to say, hey, how do we meet these goals? I mean, the auto industry signed up for the current round to increase mileage standards to 55 miles a gallon.
No, we didn't sign up. We actually were parties to it. Okay. And we could have, and believe me, there were factions in the company that, this is...
The lawyers wanted to go at it?
This is the new GM, and rather than sit in the corner and be obstreperous, we want to be part of the solution. We do not want to be part of the problem. We live in this country. I have grandchildren and children, and I want them to inherit a better earth than we did. And I think, quite frankly, our generation, it was 1970, the EPA was put into, in the water and the air in this country is cleaner than it was when I was growing up in the 50s and the 60s, and I think it ought to be cleaner next year than it is today. We're not going to get there for free. And I don't think a huge manufacturer such as General Motors or any other company can not be part of the solution, and that's what our goal is to be. And so we were active participants. We weren't dragged to it. And
not because the government owns 27% of GM, like you couldn't sue your boss, so you had to go along.
What he said.
So the mileage standards were basically flat for 25 years in the United States. And from 2010 to 2025, they will go up, they will double from about 28 miles a gallon to 55 miles a gallon. Here in California, there's a law to decrease the carbon intensity of liquid transportation fuels 10%. And oil companies, particularly independent refiners, are fighting that tooth and nail in court. And I just think it's like your comment on that juxtaposition. Auto companies increase efficiency 100%, and they're at the table voluntarily. The energy companies, oil companies, are fighting 10%. Your response?
I'm at a car company. I'm not on I respect they've got to serve their owners as their owners want them to behave in the marketplace. You know, what I'm proud of is in our company, if you look back 25, 30 years, we've taken almost 99% of the pollutants out of the emission of a car. It's still a lot. I don't know if it's a lot or too much, but we want to be better. So what are we doing? We're producing cars like the Volt. We're producing cars like the BEV, which will battery electric vehicle, the Spark, which will be here next year. This week, we came out with a new engine that will burn liquid gasoline as you see it at Exxon or Chevron or anybody else today, and it also, the same engine, not two engines, the same engine will also burn compressed natural gas. We had to spend a little bit more on lifters, sealants, and the piston and whatnot, and it'll cost us, I'm not going to give you a number, but it's not prohibitive, but it allows us to migrate away to a cleaner form of energy over time. So we're not sitting still. We want to be part of the solution, and that comes in many different levels. When we looked at CAFE, for example, you probably didn't know this, but if you're Mercedes, as long as you produce 24,999 of a particular model, you weren't subjected to the gas guzzler tax. In other words, if you stayed below 25,000. Well, I don't get that break in Germany. So why in the hell did someone agree to that back in the old days? And so I just said, well, we're at the table and we're ready to talk turkey. And I says, but why give it an advantage to a foreign competitor? We're not getting it in Germany. And by the way, guess who didn't show up at the announcement of the new CAFE standards? Which I thought was a mistake.